Hello and welcome to another episode of Entertainment Roadmap. I am here with Adrienne Rose White. Hey Adrienne, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing pretty great. How are you?
I'm good, getting ready for the holiday, kind of like I don't know where you're located, but I'm on the East Coast. It's starting to get really cold. So like it's nice, but also like mm,
I'm in LA. I'm in Beverly Hills. It is cloudy, which is unusual here. So I
ooh.
do feel it feels like the seasons are coming. And I have my little turtleneck on. We're starting to get cozy. We're getting snuggly. It's great.
I feel like even when the weather's warm, there's ways to like still incorporate that winter fashion. And you definitely
Eh,
have it going on.
Strong agree. I was like, I'll have a turtleneck and no sleeves. We'll make it work.
But so I'm so excited to have you here today. And you are literally a triple threat. So, how do you balance being an actress, writer, and producer?
Let's see. That's a great question. And I've asked myself that question sometimes too, because I don't know if balance is even the right word. I think I pick my focuses at different times and different things pop at different times. So I got into both writing and producing because early in my career, I wasn't really going up for the roles that I really wanted. I loved acting, but I didn't feel like I had a chance to stretch my muscles the way that I wanted to. So that was where quirky female protagonist came from. One of my very dear friends had written it. And when I read it, I said, oh my God, I have to be a part of this. Who's going to make it? Silence. I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna like we're gonna make this together. Let's do this. So I have always considered my writing and my producing to sort of be an extension of my acting. There are other forms of creative expression that supported acting. And eventually, I got to a place where I started writing things that weren't always for myself to act in, but there's usually some role for myself. Like there's some, I kind of use my own experience or what's exciting to me, like is the seed of what I write from. And so it always speaks to me as an actor as well.
Okay, yeah, that's a great way to look at it because I know, like, personally, I'm in the industry. I'm dabbling in like, do I want to be behind the scenes? Do I want to be in front of the camera? So, hearing how like you've kind of based it around acting in a way or wherever you're trying to show, I don't know. That was just worded really well. So, that was great advice. Thank you.
Sure, for
No
sure.
problem. People are going to like, those are the little stories that I love to bring to our viewers and listeners because they don't realize that you don't have to start off in this blockbuster hit and like you can start small and making those changes and getting those roles and working on those parts. That's the best thing to do. And I think,
Truly. And
yeah.
to your point, so my side hustle for a long time when I first got to LA and needed more regular income, I was a tutor. So I found that I really enjoyed helping students, especially creative students, kind of connect the dots in math that they weren't seeing. And so what after I left tutoring, but I still wanted to have a business. Like I think I just have that on. I think so much of that creative spirit goes with that entrepreneurial spirit of like, oh, I want to make something. So I ended up making this course called How to Actually Sell a TV Show Organically because I felt like I was always having people ask me out to coffee, be like, hey, can I just pick your brain about how you brought acting and writing and producing together? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to put all the info in one place. You can get it all at once. And then if you want coffee, let's get coffee. But first,
Yeah.
all information is right here. So I feel you on we don't it's not always talked about really publicly, like how do you juggle, how do you create, how do you have multiple things going on? And so I found like that I took some of my skills that I got from other parts of my life to put something together to support. Worked out well.
Yeah, that's really awesome. And then I guess kind of going off of that, were you always an actor? Did you grow up acting or is it something that came later in life?
I mean, I still remember the summer camp I did when I was maybe 7 years old. It was an acting summer camp, and I mean, I fell in love. I still remember we learned the song Edelweiss. I can still sing Edelweiss.
Yep.
Not very well, but
Those
it
summer,
definitely was one of those formative experiences where I just felt like, wow, this is so for me. And my parents told me at the end of the summer camp, some of the producers from the camp were like, we think she has something. We have a show we'd like her to audition for. I don't remember if it was a TV show or a theater show. I just remember that. But my parents said no because we were moving to Missouri.
oh no. But
So I had this, I'm
everything
sorry.
happens for a reason. Sorry, I didn't mean to. You're on your own timeline.
100%. And I think like getting to have a whole childhood where acting was, a little side fun thing. Like it's Missouri, there isn't a large industry. So I did like a commercial once. I was the voice of like a computer game at one point when I was like 12. So random little things, but nothing that was sort of big. And at the time I was like, oh, I missed my big break. But I think just to your point, it was it like planted the seed and it was like, now go nurture that seed a little bit. You'll get back to this. You'll have
Right.
to.
Oh no, I love that because I started in theater camp. Like those silly little like you'd put on a play or it'd be like a mix of all the plays and like those summer theater camps. A lot of times like I don't know, like a lot of my friends their parents they use them maybe like if they needed a place for their kids to go through the day, but they really opened the world for so many people and I like that that's where you got your start as well. It's a fun little
100%. I was like, it's having that time to have an immersive experience. Summer is great for that, for like getting to explore things that are maybe outside the day to day. And yeah, and fall in love even when you're 8 and it's with a creative medium.
right, right. It's so true. And so now we're going to talk about Nightbitch, which I'm very excited for. So, what can you tell us about Nightbitch and your character?
Okay, so my favorite thing to say about Nightbitch is that it's a comedy for women and a horror film for men.
Oh, I love that.
So good. It's based on Rachel Yoder's best-selling book from 2021 about a mother who is, maybe occasionally turning into a dog at night.
Oh,
Very casual, very cutesy. Um, and so my it a lot of the movie sort of explores the ways that we've sort of misunderstood motherhood completely, and that this mom in particular, like so many moms, isn't getting the support she needs to be her whole self and be a mom, right? But it's a beautiful story of transformation, of reclaiming her identity. And I feel so grateful for the role I get to play in that because I play Sally. I'm the woman who took her job when she went on maternity leave. Um,
ah,
so I sort of am the expression of the life that she's left behind. I'm this young gallery owner, or not gallery owner, but like gallerist. I work in a curator. That's the better word.
yes.
Like having like living her best life, well rested, and just bumps into mother who is maybe having a mental breakdown. And that moment when someone who's got it really together, and you at the moment where you don't have it really together, and you just have to interact.
Yep.
Uh, that is the wonderful kickoff for the film that Marielle Heller, the writer, the screenwriter, and director put together. So it was really, really fun getting to be one-on-one with Amy during a mental breakdown. Like, what more could an actor ask for?
No, this seems amazing. I'm so excited to see it. And you told me you have a funny story about Nightbitch. Can we hear
I
it?
do. Yes. Okay, so after I booked the movie, I told my mom, "Mom, I'm in a movie with Amy Adams." My mom was so excited. She said, "Oh my God, what's it called? I have to tell my book club." And I said, "Oh, that's great. It's actually based on a book. It's called Nightbitch." Silence on the phone. And then finally my mom says, "Night Witch?"
Oh,
And I said, "No, Mom, it's called Nightbitch." And she said, "How certain are they of that name?" And I said, "I think they're pretty sure, Mom." She said, "Do I have to tell my book club?" I was like, "You can tell them that the name is undecided yet, that you'll let them know." She said, "Okay, I'll do that." So
oh,
that was really cute and really funny.
I love
And
that.
But I'll tell you what, so there was just an article in People magazine about Nightbitch, and I'm in it. Like they mentioned me by name and they put a clip of one of my clips with Amy. And I told my mom about it, and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna send it to my book club." I was like, "Have you told, like, are you okay with the name?" She's like, "Oh yeah, Nightbitch."
Oh,
Dang, Nightbitch.
she came around. She came.
She came, it took her a year, but she came around. Now she's telling everyone about Nightbitch.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. That's a great story. I love hearing like mother-daughter interactions too.
Yeah, and the movie is so about it's really a movie about motherhood. So I think it's a movie for everyone who's ever had a mother.
Yes.
So highly, highly recommend for the holiday season. And yeah, it was just a gift to be a part of it. So even if your mom doesn't like the title, get her to come anyway. She'll like.
I think maybe you can't say too much about the character still, but do you resonate with your character? And if so, why?
I totally resonate with my character because my character is such an optimist, and so am I. Like I think I am often the person like, look on the bright side in a dark situation. So I think they cast me well in this. This wasn't a big stretch for me.
Okay, great. No, I love that. I can see you having that personality. Like you're very optimistic, and I feel like that's probably a good quality to have in the industry where you're
So
always like struggling, not I shouldn't say struggling, but like you're there's that struggle almost of feeling like, will I get the next role? Will I not? What if I don't? And that you have to have a very like upbeat personality for that.
I think you have to believe there's a way through it. Yeah. And I personally have the mindset that every obstacle is a gift, like helping me hone or cultivate something or pointing an arrow at something in myself that I need to look at, because that way everything that comes up is just adding to where I'm going. You know what I mean? Or every adjustment is helping me tap into something deeper. So when you treat every and that's not to say that like really terrible things, of course, it's not to skip over or pretend
Yeah.
that they're okay or something like that. But it is to say to treat everything like an opportunity. It makes life full of opportunities. Like it's great.
No, that's
So I think that has served me in being in the entertainment industry. And actually, I know I'm rambling, so feel free to stop me.
no,
But I just
you're good.
there's an insight that I got through through trial and tribulation. So I sense your viewers like to have the roadmap. So let me give you one roadmap piece that I picked up earlier in my career that I'm very grateful for and that I think other might resonate with others. And that is I used to so at first when something good happened, I'd be like, "Oh my God, this means I'm making it." So the example I'll give is with quirky female protagonist we pitched to Hello Giggles, which at the time it's still a site, but at the time it was a really big up and coming site for hosting content. And they were like, "Oh my God, we love this. Yes, we're going to help you finance it. We're going to give you money for it, like a whole thing." And then the day after they said yes on the phone call, they got bought by Time Warner and they had a freeze on everything. So what I took from that is, oh, don't celebrate until the thing happens. Like, yeah, good news is good news, but it was such a like, oh my yay, and then like
Yeah.
nothing. So disappointing. So I was like, okay, don't celebrate anything until it happens, until it's on the air. So then fast forward a few years, we end up writing a TV show called How to Be a White Guy that we got Cedric the Entertainer on board as exec producer. We sold to CBS, amazing. But even after we sold, even after we were getting paid to develop the show, we didn't really celebrate because we said, well, we're not going to celebrate till it's on the air. It's not real until it's on the air. And guess what year this all happened?
What?
2020.
Oh no. 2020 was it? Or the strike?
2020. Yeah.
Oh,
Mhm. So it didn't end up happening. So the show never went to air. And that was really and what I noticed was even though we didn't celebrate along the way, even though we're like, okay, we're not going to get excited. I mean, of course we got excited, but we're like, okay, we're not going to get too excited until it happens. Guess what? That did not protect us from disappointment. We were still really
right.
and disappointment didn't go forward. So what I realized is the trick isn't to like before I thought the trick was, oh, just celebrate like you've gotten there at every step. No, disappointing. Then I thought it was don't celebrate until you've gotten exactly what you want. No, disappointing. What I've learned now is you have to celebrate exactly what's happening for the fact that that has happened. Not for what it means for the future, not for what it could bring you at other time, but just the fact that that thing has happened. Celebrate that. So don't go 10, don't go 6 months, 10 years into the future, be like, oh, this means XYZ. But also don't like neglect the fact that you came that far. Like look back at how far
Yeah.
you've come. So that is my favorite, one of my favorite pieces of advice that I learned from experience. And if someone else can just take it and run with it, that'll make me very happy.
No, that's great. I needed to hear something like that actually, because I'm like struggling with that. Like even sometimes, like you get a job interview, you get excited, and you don't want to like not celebrate it, and you don't want to like push it down and not like manifest it. But then when you don't get the job, it's like what now? So, but you're right. Celebrate it as you're kind
As
of
like the
going
step of
through
the
it.
exact step that is
Yeah,
like you got the job. So let's say you've wanted your dream job for a long time, you've sent out your resume 20 places and now you got a job interview. That's absolutely a win. It's like, oh, okay, something I'm doing is working. Oh, wow, I went from not even knowing what I wanted to now I know, and now people are interested in talking to me about it. Now I'm building a relationship with this place. This is great. And so that way it's I just read this book called The Gap and the Gain. Highly recommend it. And it talks about how most high achievers tend to live in the gap. They see the gap between where they are and where they want to be. Whereas a much more accurate way to measure where you are is look at where you started and where you are now, right?
yeah,
So that looking, because where you want to be is always moving. Whenever you get somewhere, then where you want to be is somewhere else. You can never, it's a never ending, like,
yeah.
oh, I'm not there yet. But if you look back at where you came from to where you are and say, oh, wow, I've come that far and I've already done that. What else could I do? Like, mwah, it's
That's
great.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great advice. I love that. Thank you.
Oh, for sure.
Because
Wait,
yeah,
so tell me a little, I know you have a question. I promise I'll answer all your
no,
questions.
you're
Tell me
fine.
a little bit about you. What are you pursuing in
Oh,
entertainment?
so I'm currently getting my master's in cinematic production management. I I'm looking I don't know, this is where it gets really hard. I was always strictly like I'm never going in front of the camera. But now I'm kind of like, okay, I really kind of like it. So I'm kind of leaning towards that. But I really just want to get into TV shows because I grew up on like Pretty Little Liars and like that was always like a huge inspiration for me. So I'm trying to figure out where I lay in that realm. So like whether it's post-production, pre-production, production. So trying to figure that all out and trying to figure out what I can do from New Jersey and New York area.
Mhm. Oh, nice. In the New York area. Okay.
Yeah.
And I know we're on a podcast, so to the extent you can say, where
Oh my
in New
God,
Jersey?
no, it's okay. We can bleep it out. I'm from Cranberry, New Jersey, so I'm right outside Princeton.
Ah, okay. Nice,
Yeah.
nice. Okay, cool. And what drew you to cinematic production specific? Because I know you mentioned being behind the scenes, but tell me more. What do you like about it? Is it the people? Is it the numbers? Like, is it the design? Like, what's your
I
thing?
it's like just everything that goes into the show. So like I like I know writing is like my ultimate dream job, but I know it's so competitive. So I just kind of like throwing myself in there a little bit so I don't completely get rid of it because I always was one who would like write little fanfics about TV shows when they didn't go my way. Like I'd want to fix them.
I got started with fan fiction too.
Really?
Oh yeah, I
I
used to write
loved
Buffy
it.
the Vampire Slayer fan fiction when I was in middle school.
Okay. I was always Pretty Little Liars. And like I'd be in like sixth grade, I'd be like, okay, we're gonna write a story today, guys. But
That
I
is exactly how you get started. That's how I got started in writing spec scripts. Spec scripts are basically just fan fiction.
right, because they're like when you go into an already existing show, right? And then write a new
Have you considered writing a spec script?
no, but now I kind of am.
I think you should pick a show and if it, well, do whatever you want to do. Do what speaks to you. If you're curious about TV specifically, I'd pick a show that's already on the air that has maybe only one season so far. So something that is more likely to get more seasons recent. Write a spec script of it. Like make your own, take the characters in the world that you already really enjoy and like take them in a direction they didn't get to go.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you.
For sure.
Oh my,
I
okay.
told you, I love coaching people on how to take their next steps. So this,
No, I was also gonna say, like, because I know you said you made the course. This will be cut out. If there's anything you're still doing with it that you want us to promote or let people know about it, just let us know because we love to showcase all you guys. So if there's anything you're ever
I
doing,
yeah, it's it's a standalone course. It's already always live, and I can actually make a page specifically for your listeners so that they get a special code to get like a 10-day free trial. So they
yes,
can
that would be great for sure.
okay.
Because we'd love to post that for you.
Okay, great. And I'm happy to say it on, let's make up a website for it right now. So my website is soloshow.com slash, and let's see, why don't we call it, um, we'll just say soloshow.com slash entertainment roadmap. I'll
Okay,
make
perfect.
that landing page for your listeners.
Great, thank you. Yes, my puppy is going crazy. Pep, come here. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay.
No worries at all. I have a dog as well. We are on the same page. And actually, well, I'll wait till you get to the question, but let's see.
They can be. But okay, back to where we were. So, can you tell us more about Barrister's Ball? What is it and what's your role with it?
Sure. So Barrister's Ball is a 1 hour drama, and it was inspired by this experience I had when I was living in London. So it's a bit of a long story, but I was in Argentina studying abroad, and I met this British guy, and I happened to apply to an internship in London, and I got it, and I was looking for an apartment to live in for the summer. I mentioned it to him, and he says, "Oh, why don't you stay with my family?" And I said, "But why don't you house sit?" And I was like, "Oh, sure, I'll house sit for your family." He did not tell me that his father was the Lord Chancellor of the British Parliament. So when I went through customs, they asked me where I was staying, and I gave the address and the name, and the customs guy or the border guy was like, "You're staying with Charlie Faulkner," and I was like, "Oh my goodness." So I had this incredible summer with this really amazing family and setting. And, I had a little bit of a crush on the boy, but he did not have a crush on me. It was okay. Um, but so I wanted to, when I watched Meghan Markle going through things with the royal family, I was like, oh, I remember, like, not the same at all, but like a little piece of that. So we started to make a story about what if we had a story about a Black woman from America who comes to London and maybe somehow, falls in love with the prince or a prince falls in love with her. So that, and in our case, she's a lawyer, right? She was running away from a scandal in New York. So she goes to her law firm's London outpost, and there, gets swept up into pageantry and maybe some more scandal as she's caught up in a world that she is wholly unfamiliar with. So it's a very, very fun ride. I worked with Bianca Sams on it. And so how did it come to be was a friend of mine was a lawyer, had this idea. I thought it was great. At the time, I only wrote comedy. So I said, I want to see this idea happen. I don't think I'm the right person to write it. Why don't we put together a team? So I got Ted Humphrey, who was on The Good Wife and is the exec producer for Lincoln Lawyer for Netflix. I happened to know him. I brought it to him. We also got Bianca Sams, this incredible writer from Charmed, and a few other great shows. So I was the producer. I put all the pieces together, and then the goal is for me to star in it. So I put this team together so that I could do that. And we ended up selling it to CBS. So I use Barrister's Ball as an example of one, it wasn't even in my original idea. My friend who has nothing to do with entertainment came to me with an idea, and I was like, we can package this, we can make this happen. And then always thought about like, what pieces are missing and how can I get someone else involved to make it happen? So it was really fun working on that project. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's really awesome that you got to spend the summer there. And I love how it's like the whole girlhood, like crush on a guy, not having a crush, but like that's just like such like girlhood. I love it.
It was great. It was a great origin place to make the story that was much more about like a woman who's lived a life and is now coming to this place where her life is about to be a very public life. So it's
Yes.
really fun.
That's awesome. And so, kind of going on to your next project, can you tell us about your experience with quirky female protagonist?
Sure. So, and I will just say, quirky female protagonists happened before Barrister's Ball, like many years before.
Okay.
But so quirky female protagonist was sort of the very first thing that I did that began to pop off. So my very dear friend and creative partner at the time, Ali Chan, came to me with this script. It's a very LA story. We like went to a yoga class and did yoga, and we were the only three ones in the class. And then we got like some mung beans and green juice. We're sitting, and Ali said, "Actually, I have the script. Do you want to read it?" And our yoga teacher was like, "Yeah, why don't you guys read it out loud?" So we read the script out loud, and our yoga teacher was like, "Oh my God, that was so funny. You have to make it." And I said, "Yes, absolutely. We have to make it." And
Yeah.
this was at the time that there was a lot of female-centric comedy on the air. There was a lot of New Girl and Girls and Sex and the City was over, but it was still a big reference point. And we had grown up watching like Nick at Night that had like Mary Tyler Moore and Rhoda. So we loved female-centric comedy, but we had noticed there were certain themes that seemed to come up a lot in those series. So we wanted to make something that lovingly poked fun at some of those themes that we see over and over and over again. So it was such a gift and such a treat, and such like, we raised money for it. At the time, I worked for a production company that made reels for actors. So I just learned how to make things quickly. But we
Oh,
ended up bringing on the director, Yulin Kwong, who's extremely talented. And she certainly elevated the project and gave it this look that was just fantastic. We got great actors. It was a really incredible experience to put that together. Yes, I'll keep rambling, so I'll stop and check in.
no, no, you're good. That's a great story. I love how you brought it to a yoga class and the yoga teacher's like, read it out loud. Like,
Yeah, and I'll tell because I use quirky female protagonists in the first show we optioned after that. I use that as an example of how to build a career because what we did, like no one knew who we were before quirky female protagonist. That was something that when we made it, first we sent it out to like our friends and family to get that layer of traction to get a bunch of views.
mhm.
And I'd also interned for a producer who had a movie at the LA Film Festival. So I'd met someone there. So I reached out to that person I'd met at the LA Film Festival and I just said, "Hey, we have this web series, we submitted it to the festival for this year. Hope we get to join." We sent our best episode. She loved it. She was like, "We can't wait to see you at the festival." I was like, so, and then once we had that festival, I ended up somehow finding a baby publicist, like a publicist who did not have, I don't remember if she had worked for a company, was just striking out on her own or was just out of college, but so she was new to being a publicist. But so she was working at like an extremely affordable rate. And we had this event coming up. So it made it easier to get traction, right? Like we got coverage in like the Huffington Post and IndieWire and all these other cool places because we'd made this momentum ourselves. And so once we were at the festival, we were then able to reach out to people we didn't know and say, "Hey, look, there are these news articles. We're in this festival. We have these views." And so it made it much easier to option our first TV show because we had created something of our own and made that established our voices and then made momentum around that. So that's something I always advise people to do. If you can make, and now it's easier to make your own momentum even than it was then. Like we had to raise a bunch of money to do that. You can do stuff, you can use social media to do that now. You don't have to, but like there's many ways to kind of create your own momentum and then use that to get interest in your next bigger project. That's what we did.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's great advice. Thank you so much. And that's such a cool story about quirky female protagonist. I love how like all your things, you're making them seem so effortless. You're like, "Ah, they were just read." But like,
Oh,
I imagine the
I
hard
was
work
saying,
you put into it. Like, you're just like, "Oh my gosh." But no, you are like amazing.
you're extremely kind. We should hang out more.
Please.
Um, And I will just say, if I'm making it sound easy, don't let me do that because it was very hard. Like I'm giving the highlights. There was a lot of, oh God, what do we do? Oh shoot, we're out of money. Oh God, like the editor didn't edit after we paid him. Like, what do we do? So there was a lot of low points along the way where like, what do we even do with this now? So I keep coming back to like that next right step or looking back and seeing how far you've come and saying, okay, wait, if I figured out this and that and this and that, I can figure out this moment. Like I don't know what to do yet, but I will show up for it and find the next step.
Yeah, no, and it wasn't made, I didn't say it to make it seem like anything was easy, but it's just you are not like I feel like you're not giving yourself enough credit. Like you're like, oh yeah, like but like you are phenomenal. So it was such a pleasure to have you and answer all those questions. Thank you.
For sure. Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thank you for asking them. It's
No
fun trip down
problem.
memory lane.
But at Entertainment Roadmap, that's never the end. We do have a hot seat section. Are you willing to sit in the hot seat and answer some rapid fire questions?
I would love to sit in the hot seat and answer some rapid fire questions. Let's do it.
Amazing. So tea or coffee?
Oh, tea. Coffee drives me crazy. I mean, I love it, but I'm like
Yeah.
literally having a panic attack after having an espresso. So
Do you have a
I
song
do it for
on
everyone's safety.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Do you have a song that's currently on repeat?
I just listened to Kendrick Lamar's album, and there's a song Reincarnated that I'm really digging.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone. I'm a blue
And your
belt baby.
yeah. No green bubbles allowed. And your favorite vacation destination?
Oh shoot. Do I have to have been there already?
No.
Okay. Bali.
Okay.
I'm
Oh, that's
calling my
fun.
name.
And do you have a favorite animal?
My animal, my dog, Bo, is definitely my favorite animal. He's extremely cute. If you give me time to run away, I will grab him, but I understand if we're
Oh,
in.
go ahead. I'll grab my Pip. I'll show you my little dog.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Here, a piece of steak if you want to.
No, don't.
Okay. Be good girl. You're a good girl.
Oh,
This is
what
Bo.
kind of dog is Bo?
His dad's a multi-poo and his mom's a poodle, so I call him a multi-poo-poo.
Oh my
Oh.
goodness. He is so, how old is he?
And he's 4.
Oh my
Hi.
goodness.
Little pandemic dog.
Oh, he's adorable. This is Pip. She's a mini golden doodle. She's a year and a half old and she's crazy, but we love her.
I've heard that about golden doodles, that they're crazy, but like so adorable it works.
Yes, she's named after the character from A Good Girl's Guide to Murder on Netflix.
Oh, I have not seen that,
So
but
that's the show you have me thinking of writing a spec script for now. So it all started with Pip. But yeah.
I love that. Well, here, you know what? I know I'm giving all of your listeners a free trial of how to actually sell a TV show organically. I hope you take a look at it too.
Oh, I will be for
I
sure.
think
I'm
I think you'll
excited.
like it. Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad. Do your 10 days and let me know what you think. We might be
I
able to do
will.
like a
No,
free,
of course.
let you run the course and talk about it or something. We'll figure something out.
Yes, no, 100%. Adrienne, thank you so much. It was so great to talk with you. You're such an amazing human being, and I'm so happy you joined us today.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me on. This was so much fun.